respected President of the session, Dulipudi Shanti Shriji. Just now I was informing her that her family name is Dulipudi. My native place is the same place. I come from the same. And Professor Jugnu ji and all the respected dignitaries on the other side of the dais. Before I venture to speak on Lok Suraksha, the topic that I have been asked to talk about, I have to make mention of a few very important aspects. One that I was sharing with the organizers from the beginning. How many of the audience know Telugu here? Can you raise your hands? Okay, I expect a lot of, a majority of the audience knowing Telugu. Lok, the word that is being used in the title of this whole event, is translated as Janapada in Telugu. Lokmanthan can be translated as Janapada Mathanam in Telugu. If the organizers would have mentioned that something about Janapada is going to happen here, the publicity and the reach of this event would have been 500 times more than what it is now. The reach has been not so much because of the Hindi word lok that is used instead of the local Telugu word Janapada. And when I was asked to speak about Lok Suraksha, I wanted to tell the Telugu speaking audience that the word Suraksha here is being used in the sense in which the word Bhadrata is used in Telugu. So in Telugu, what I am going to speak about is Janapada Bhadrata. This topic actually is very, very unique and rare, and I am enjoying the privilege of speaking on this topic, probably because this is for the first time that somebody is speaking on this topic. Both Lok Nyay, Janapada Nyaya Vyavastha, and Lok Suraksha are some new and unique topics that have been chosen for this whole event. In English, if it would have been publicized, it would have been publicized as folk justice and folk security. The whole Lokmanthan Lok idea itself has emerged out of an attitude of why folk is a negative connotation and all that. That is why we need to avoid, but to be Google friendly, to be friendly to those who know these words, it is better to use the word folk security and folk justice. And those who have lived for a long time, of a long age here in the audience, all know that before the courts entered this country, all the disputes were settled inside the village, then and there, by the village heads. In Hindi, they use the word mukhiya, which is a transformed form of mukhya. There is a mukhya of panchayat. The whole panchayat system, panchayati, and all that as a local self-governance have emerged after independence from the traditional concept of panch and panchayat and mukhiya only. That was the local village justice system. It was a dispute settlement system. May I share with you that I have attended hundreds of these dispute settlement sessions during my last 3.5 decades of fieldwork in villages and forests. And may I share with you that even today, in India, we don't have this urban-rural kind of distinction also. Hyderabad and Secunderabad is actually a big village. All the metro cities in India are big villages. And we have, in the entire Hyderabad city, every day, even now, today, I'm sure some panchayat must be taking place. Some dispute settlement session must be taking place in some rural setup inside the twin cities, metro cities of Hyderabad and Secunderabad. That is about Lok Nyay. About Lok Suraksha, if we have to use the contemporary jargon, we have to talk about whether there was a village policing system and whether there was a village military system. Village policing, if you try to look for the material on village policing, people mention a word called village watchman. Google internet sources are talking about a word, village watchman. And this word watchman, because it has got a pejorative connotation, we talk about a watchman of an apartment, watchman of a building, and we look down upon that position as a position of a lower status. We might get an idea that, oh, maybe there was a watchman for the entire village, the way we have a watchman for the apartments. That's not the idea. The word in Telugu that is used for the security person of the village is Talari. He was called Talari. If you go to any village in the Telugu speaking areas, even today you have a Talari, and because the traditional systems have been preserved through the modern governance inside the panchayati system and also the revenue system, the Talari of the village is still retaining his position. In most of the villages in India, all over India, there must be parallel Marathi, Hindi, Bengali and Punjabi words for this Talari. But the local Talari in the Telugu speaking areas, he still preserves his position. He is given a nominal salary, a monthly salary. He comes and puts his signature every day. He is the security person of the village. Actually, the number of Talaris was not even one. There used to be a very big number of Talaris for a single village also. In a 15th century Telugu epic poem, narrative poem, which is about Kashi's Mahima, Kashi Khandamu, which is actually a translation of a Sanskrit work called Varanasi Khandamu by Srinathudu, the 15th century poet. A person called Gunanidhi, who is the son of a Yagnika, commits all the sins throughout his life, but by his good luck, towards the end of his life, he enters the Shiva's temple during the night of Shivratri, and by chance, by his good luck, he does everything that a Shiva Bhakta has to do during a Shivratri night, without his knowledge, without his intention to do all those. Finally, because he was hungry, he picks up the Naivedyam inside the Garbhagriha and starts walking out, but by mistake, he touches one of the sleeping individuals in the temple. The sleeping person wakes up and starts shouting, "Chor, chor, donga, donga," and all the bhaktas there, they wake up and they start shouting. Describing this, the 15th century poet says, immediately the Talaris of the village entered the scene. He says the security personnel of the village entered the scene. And what weapons were these Talaris using? Because this person who picked up the Naivedyam was running away, he is at a long distance, they used bows and arrows. This is how it is described in the 15th century work. They used bows and arrows and they shot arrows towards this person running away. He dies because of the arrows, and Yamabhatas and Shiva Bhattas both come Yama Bhattas tried to pick him up, and Shiva Bhattas actually pick him up because he committed all the Shiva Dharma punyas without his knowledge. They take him away, is the later part of the story. But what you see there is that in 15th century, there is this documentation, reflection of the Talari system, the security system being described by the 15th century poet. And it is so described that just at the shout from a temple, the Talaris entered the temple and they were able to protect the temple and attack who they thought is a criminal running away with the Naivedyam. And this Talari system, this village security system was well in place. Is that all? Because there were two Talaris, no one else has to do anything. Was that the system? What we need to learn is, just now Giridharji was using the word nihathe. Nihathe, तो सब लोग बन गए अब डेमोक्रेसी में, modern governance में. All the people in the earlier pre-modern period were with weapons in their hands. All the citizens were weaponed citizens were there. All the citizens were physically fit. All the citizens in the country, including the villagers, were capable of their self-defense. So there was no need of a separate village security system. These people were given charge of protecting the village is a different thing. But it is not the modern relinquishing of self-defense and handing it over into the hands of a system called a policing system. It was a self-defense system. All the villagers were capable of defending themselves. And if you go back to the legends coming from these village areas, all over India there is a tradition of what is called as hero stones. Hero stone is an English word created for an Indian word. Hero stone is not the original word. Hero stone, the English word was created to translate a local Indian word to be able to communicate to the Western world, to the English knowing world. The local world in the south is Veera Gallu, Veera Kallu. Kallu is the word for stone. This is not just a stone, it's a sculpture. In almost all the villages in India, we find these Veera Gallulu, the hero stones, where a hero of the past ages is found celebrated. He is found to be given a sculpture, a special sculpture celebrating him. In some places, they start worshipping him also. It almost the same hero stone turns into a kallu, a vigraha, a murti, and gradually it may turn either into a Shiva sculpture or a Vishnu sculpture depending on whether Shaiva or Vaishnava is dominant in that area. For example, the Vishnu temples, there are many Vishnu temples, they are mentioned to be Viragallus of the past time. For example, there is a very unique Vishnu temple in the Krishna district of Andhra Pradesh called Andhranayaka temple, Andhra Mahavishnu temple. This is one of the 108 Divya Deshams according to the Vaishnava tradition. And this Vishnu temple is the temple built for a king who is called Andhranayaka. And that is the hero stone built for his valor, for his Veeratva. And then it turned into a Vishnu temple. The Satyanarayana temple in Annavaram, very close to Vishakhapatnam also, is called Veera Venkata Satyanarayana temple. The Satyanarayana there has mush. He has got mush also to indicate the valor. He is a Veera and then turned into Satyanarayana, the Vishnu there. Throughout Karnataka, there is a recent figure given that there are around 2,375 just in Karnataka, the hero stones, the Veera Gallulu that are established. Recently, someone shared a recently established Veera Gallu for a soldier who fought and became Amar in Kargil war. They used the same sculpture tradition, they used the entire sculpture practices, sthapatya practices, and established exactly the same kind of Veeragallu, but the description there given is that this Veera, this soldier, fought and he became Shaheed, he became Amara in Kargil war is written in that. So the tradition of establishing Veeragallus is continuing even in 2024. Even during Kargil war, the tradition is continuing. That shows that the folk security system, the local village security system was not given into the hands of just the talaris. It was there in the entire village and all the villagers. But whoever succeeds in securing the village, in protecting the village, he is given a worship, he is given a celebration, he is given a memorial in the form of Veeragallu. All the halla bulla about Jallikattu that happened in Tamil Nadu, all that you can see that valor, expressing valor, celebrating valor has been a tradition of all the villages in this country. And that expression of valor, that practice of physical fitness, that demonstration of physical fitness was part of these traditions like Jallikattu. And if you see the Veeragallus, the hero stones that are established all over India, in Assam I saw a few, in Bengal I saw one or two. Everywhere the hero is mostly with a tiger in his hands. And most of the legends mention that these people secured the village from the wild animals. In Maharashtra, in the Vidarbha area, I was talking to some villagers. Their mention was mostly about the wild boars. And the worship was for a person who was able to get rid of the village from the whole wild boar army that attacked the village in the Vidarbha area. So, one security aspect they used to have is to secure the village from the wild animals, and whoever succeeded in securing the village from the wild animals was also celebrated. Another important folk cultural aspect, Loka Sanskritik Amsh, Janapada Samskruti Amsham, that we can see very well connected to this folk security aspect is the Vyayam Shalas. Almost every village had Vyayam Shala, and these Vyayam Shalas were part of the village culture. And I used to work on, while I was working in folk cultural studies, I used to work on performances, different art performances. Almost all those who are sitting here, because this is lok, because this is our own culture, whatever I speak must be ringing bells in your mind from your own memory. I have seen this. Yeah, I have seen this. In the processions, in the Ratha processions, annual Ratha processions of a temple, the procession is very, very long, and the front portion of this festival used to have a very big demonstration of Veeratva of the village youngsters. Not just youngsters, even elderly people, older people also used to participate in the demonstrations of the Veeratva of the villagers. A typical procession, for example, in the outskirts of Hyderabad here, if you go, a typical procession has first in the Sangha language, Danda Vyayam, Danda Yuddha. These two traditional Danda Yuddha and traditional Danda Vyayam are demonstrated in the procession. In Telugu, they use the word Karra Samu, Karra Yuddham. Danda Vyayam is called Karra Samu, Danda Yuddha is called Karra Yuddham. Both these are demonstrated as part of the village procession, and all the youngsters in the village enjoy being admired by the other villagers for their skill in using the stick for defending themselves. Other villagers enact as though they are attacking him with weapons, with lemons, with other objects, and he has to turn the stick, circle the stick in such a way that no lemon should go to the other side. These demonstrations take place. And Danda Yuddha is also shown. And Khadga Yuddha is also demonstrated as part of there are sessions after sessions inside the procession of the village. And after this stick part, there comes the sword part. The sword yuddha, the khadga yuddha is demonstrated. And the Vyayamshala people come and demonstrate their maces, gadas. They show how strong they have become. That view inside the procession is so beautiful, so sweet and enjoyable, because the first, it is height-wise they are arranged. All the demonstrators are arranged height-wise. You see that even a 3-year-old child is holding a gada. And he is very short. Actually, some 2 feet short person also stands in the front and he performs his gada vyayama. And according to height, people are arranged and they show how strong they are. And their bodybuilding is also demonstrated. At wherever the procession stops, they keep the gada aside and they show their bodybuilding, their good physique. And gradually, if you go from the beginning of the procession up to the Ratha, by that time you might have observed around 10 to 15 such various Velar demonstrations in the Ratha procession. If it is happening even now in 2024, where we have already handed over all our protection to the police system, can we imagine what would have been the situation earlier in pre-modern period when we were not handing over our self-protection to the policing system, to the police department? If we can observe how much valor they are demonstrating, we can see that the village was encouraging Vyayamshalas. It was encouraging all kind of self-defense systems. It was encouraging all kind of weaponry, use of weaponry. And finally, before I take leave, I want to tell about the Veerabhadrani Palyammu that was being shown as a short video a few minutes ago. Actually, this Veerabhadrani Palyammu was not part of just the anti-Nizam kind of demonstration or something like that. It is part of the entire Shaivite tradition, Veerashaiva tradition, in the entire areas of India where Shaiva is prevalent. The sounds that the person was making in the video are called khadgas. Khadga, actually in that context, it means a stotra. These are titles given to Veerabhadra. He is uttering them. But Veerabhadra himself is a role model for all the village veeras. All the village veeras take Veerabhadra as their role model in the look and in physique and all that. And this Veerabhadrani Palyammu demonstration and the music that is played there, all through the places where this Veerabhadrani Palyammu takes place, even today is inspirational for all the veeras of the village. So let us just remember that if we are now going back to self-defense, if we are going back to building a good physique and valor and courage in all of us, not handing over our responsibility only to the police department and increasing its burden, then we are not doing anything new, we are not doing anything experimental, we are just reviving the dead tradition of this country, not completely dead, but it is actually glowing in a very dim light in all the villages even today. Let us revive it and let us go back to our self-defense tradition that has been at the grassroots level in this country. That was the Lok Suraksha. Thank you. Let me take it.